Cheat code. Support strategist by clouds. My head in the clouds, not coming down. On AO3. Chapter 22. Decisions. Midoriya. Presence Mike's voice, much less exasperated than normal, brought him back to the present, and Izuku looked over at Mei, who looked like she was about to throw up. How long had they been sitting there? Are you and the other listener okay? You went quiet there. And what was that about dust? Uh, Izuku swallowed the bile that was starting to climb up his throat. The leader, his Quirk, he just killed. It's my fault. There was a panic fury of noise on the other end of the comm. But the white noise in Izuku's brain was louder. He'd never seen someone die before. If it wasn't for Izuku's interference, would Shigaraki still have killed that guy? Probably not. So it was all Izuku's fault that he was dead. Slow down, young Midoriya. All Might's voice wasn't quite the same as it was when he was in hero form, but it still brought him back enough memories of long hours in front of his computer to be slightly comforted. Start from the beginning. First off, is Eraserhead all right? What? Izuku looked at the screen, helplessly. Even though it seemed like the world had stopped for him, the fight was still going. Eraserhead was still slowing, being overwhelmed by the cannon fold as Shigaraki and Kurogiri watched impressively, as if they hadn't just casually left a body in the middle of the plaza. Eraserhead is fine, Mei reported, apparently recovering from the shock a little quicker than Izuku had been able to. The villain killed one of his own men. He killed him because of me, Mei-chan. Izuku's voice cracked. That man is dead because of me. Mei looked at him, the emotion in her eyes swirling between pity, helplessness, and something else that Izuku couldn't name. I know, but they're gonna kill a lot more people if we do nothing. Izuku took a deep breath and let it out slowly before addressing the teachers and throwing himself into his analysis. He could deal with everything later. The leader's name is Shigaraki. He has a disintegration quirk that seems to spread from wherever he touches, most likely a 5-point activation quirk, just like Uraraka's gravity notification. Unknown whether he can control the speed of which something turns to dust. The warp quirk user's name is Kurogiri, and he appears to be the right hand. Also, more mature than Shigaraki. All the other villains are most likely hired muscle. Izuku still didn't want to use the guns that Nezu had mentioned, but went back into the defense system and started booting them up away. If Shigaraki was willing to kill so easily, Izuku had to be prepared. Mei was right. All he could worry about right now was making sure Shigaraki didn't kill anyone else. Mei-chan, you take over the mountain zone, Izuku said. I need to focus on the plaza. Will do, Izuku. Mei turned around towards the screen and her eyes widened. Oh my god! What? Izuku turned to check what was wrong, only to end up with Mei's hands over his eyes. Mei-chan, what are you doing? I can't see. What's going on over there? Powerloader demanded. Kids? We're fine, Powerloader, Mei yelled. It's just that Izuku doesn't need to see that. I literally just saw someone die, Mei-chan, Izuku grumbled. What's worse than that? Well, it's just that. Mei's voice sounded embarrassed. One of the girls in the mountain zone had a costume malfunction. I knew that costume was going to be a problem, Izuku grumbled. Her quirk works through screen exposure, Mei-chan. It's not a big deal. If I promise not to look, can I have my eyes back? Hatsume, please. Mike sounded somewhat desperate. Midoriya needs to help Shoto. Mei snatched her hands back as if she'd just been burned. I am so sorry. I wasn't thinking, and... Sometimes trauma is like that, Houndtoad interrupted patiently. Experiences like this can make your brain want to cling onto sense of normality. It can get... Honestly, You kids are first years and aren't even in the hero course. You shouldn't be going through any of this. If we weren't involved, you still wouldn't know about this attack, Izuku resolved. We're fine. Crap! Shigaraki's on the move. Izuku turned up the volume so he could hear Shigaraki's murmuring. 24 seconds, then 20, then 17. It took a moment for Izuku to make the connection, and when it did, he couldn't help feeling like he'd somehow gotten caught in Todoroki's ice. He figured out Eraserhead's tail. Eraserhead tensed and jumped away from Shigaraki as he ran forward, and Izuku sighed in relief. I was worried for a second that Eraserhead had been too busy to see Shigaraki's quirk in action. He's been keeping the distance, so he's safe for now. Eraserhead prides himself on having good situational awareness, Nezu said. He wouldn't be such an effective hero if he wasn't able to multitask. I've gotten almost all the students out of the disaster zones, May reported. Most of them are heading towards the entrance, but a few are trying to make their way towards the plaza. Get in their way, please, Miss Hatsume, Nezu ordered. We need to keep the students away from the most dangerous villains as much as possible. But Hatsume, Parlor said her name, like it was a warning, which it probably was, although Izuku had no idea the punishment for disobeying would be. Most likely, no access to flammable material for a week. Fine, have it your way, Mei huffed, and started typing. Izuku glanced over to see Katsuki and Kirishima struggling to keep their feet as a mild earthquake shook the path they were on. It wouldn't hold them back for long, but he trusted Mei to keep them safe. Turning back to their own screen, Izuku stopped breathing as he realized that Shigaraki had stopped the cat and mouse game he'd been playing with Eraser, and now was scratching at his neck again. This couldn't be good. Stupid cheater, Shigaraki murmured. If it wasn't for that stupid extra player with the cheat codes, I would have taken Eraserhead out easily. His quirk isn't good for long, drawn-out battles with big groups. No good hero, Eraserhead panted, and shot his scarf towards Shigaraki, is a one-trick pony. Kurogiri appeared beside Shigaraki, and the capture weapon disappeared harmlessly into a portal, only to reappear as Eraserhead's ankles. Eraserhead rolled away and his hair started floating. The portal disappeared, cutting the capture weapon neatly in half as it closed. Izuku shivered slightly. If Kurogiri closed one of his portals while someone was halfway through, would you like me to take care of him? Kurogiri asked. Shigaraki stopped scratching his neck and grinned widely enough that Izuku could see the expression behind the hands on his face. No, Eraserhead might be cool, but he doesn't know that I'm not the final boss here. Nomu. Izuku didn't know how he missed the giant shadow that slammed Eraserhead into the ground. But if he thought about it all, he would have assumed that the big villain with the exposed brain was just another one of the thugs Shigaraki had hired. He would have been wrong. What even is that thing? Mei's voice raised in barely concealed panic, and Izuku decided he didn't like it when she panicked. That was supposed to be his job. I don't know. Izuku stalled for a moment, ignoring the teacher's bargains of questions on the other end of the comms, as he analyzed the villain. Everyone shut up. Eraserhead is still alive. At least Izuku hoped he was, but he could have sworn he seen the hero moving around a little, even after whatever that thing was had stopped beating him. But the students are on their own now. He's not going to be able to fight anymore with those injuries. As for what attacked him, well, it doesn't seem human. It has a strength aspect to its quirk, definitely, but it also seems to have some sort of bird mutation, which should normally come with more fragile bones and diminished physical strength that this villain obviously hadn't shown signs of. Izuku trailed off as Shigaraki started speaking again. Bragging, the brain corrected. What do you think of him? Shigaraki said gleefully. He's a bio-engineered anti-symbol of peace, but you could call him Nomu. He's got his own set of cheat codes to beat the big boss. Bioengineered symbol of peace? May repeated, horrified. That thing was invented? That's somebody's baby? Their backup is going to be coming soon. Between the students that escape and that noob with cheat codes, it's game over, Shigaraki growled, and brought his hands up to start scratching his neck again, only to freeze right before he made contact. How about we leave the symbol of peace a present to break his pride when he gets here? He lunged towards Eraserhead, but Izuku was ready. He shot every weapon he could think of at the space between Shigaraki and the hero, but apparently Kurogiri was already expecting his attack. Each of the rockets, bullets, and other projectiles he launched were effortlessly redirected upwards, harmlessly exploding near the ceiling. Portions of the dome shattered from the shrapnel and bullets, and the remaining thugs ran for cover as shards started raining down. But even falling glass wasn't enough to stop Shigaraki's form grabbing Eraserhead's face, just like he had grabbed the block earlier. Mei and Izuku both held their breath as the 5 of Shigaraki's fingers made contact. Nothing happened. You really are so cool, Eraserhead. Shigaraki grinned. At least he seemed to respect Eraserhead as an opponent. Not that that would be enough to keep him alive. Nomu? Izuku had already launched another net at the Nomu, hoping to cancel his Quirk in time to soften the blow, making sure to shoot a rocket at Kurogiri at the same time in an attempt to distract him. The half-baked plan worked. The net wrapped around the monster, but even with the net canceling his Quirk, the Nomu still slammed Eraserhead's face into the concrete with an audible crack, and then the hero finally went completely limp. Shigaraki simply huffed and disoriented the net like it was nothing, before turning his attention back towards the now unconscious Eraserhead. How far are you guys? Izuku's brain whirled with a million plans as he addressed the heroes. About 5 minutes, Nezu said. But All Might could get there in 2 if... Do it, Izuku ordered. Power up and get there. I'll distract them. Izuku, Mii warned. Don't you dare. Young Midoriya, I must insist. All Might's voice overlapped Mei's and the other heroes as they tried to stop him. But Izuku resolutely ignored them as he connected the PA system. Shigaraki froze with his hands only inches away from Eraserhead's face, as Izuku's voice, slightly warped from both technology and the extraness of the building, echoed around USJ. Hello? He took a deep breath and forced a shaky smile onto his face, in a poor attempt to both assure Mei and to make himself sound more confident. You seem to be having a little trouble. Oh my god, please, please. Eraserhead cannot die. If Eraserhead dies, I'm ending this series right here, right now. No joke. Yeah, I'm joking. I'm not going to end the series. I will very much take a hiatus from the series because I think I'm going to have to stop a little bit, recover my emotions, and then start. I would take like a 1-2 week hiatus because Eraserhead, Present Mic, Izuku Midoriya, and Bakugo Katsuki are one of my favorite My Hero Academia characters, with Aizawa and Bakugo being at the top too, you know? They're like fighting between, you know, being number 1. Right now, Eraserhead is number 1, so if he dies, I'm sorry, but if my Shota dies, hiatus. As always, make sure to eat, sleep, drink water, take your meds, have a wonderful day or night. Join our community server, link is in the description. Subscribe to see more of my content, and thank you so much for watching.